Maurice, tell me, how long have you been a member of Davis Temple? When did you join Davis Temple?
I joined Davis Temple when I was 18 years old, 1999.
1999, 18. So you've been here 20-something years?
Almost 22 years.
Almost 22 years. So most of your adult life has been spent here at Davis Temple, right?
Yes, sir. Majority of it has. We all, when we was at the age of 18, we drift off, and we always end up coming back.
Yeah. So what was it that moved you to join at age 18?
At the time, I was 18, and I felt like I was too old not to be a Christian. And I didn't know exactly what I was getting into at the time. I just joined because I wanted to be a Christian.
I got you. So, I mean, you do a lot of stuff in our church. You help out with a lot of stuff. You're involved with a lot of stuff. You spend a lot of time on the church grounds. What all ministries or auxiliaries are you a part of right now?
Right now, I'm part of the young adult choir. We have a mass choir here. We also have our Christian education. I help teach the male classes, and now we're teaching online as well right now. And I'm also a part of the Brotherhood Association.
That's a lot of stuff. Like I said, you do a lot. You're a part of a lot of ministries. Has it always been that way? Like, have you been heavily involved from age 18 up until now? Or what was that? What's this whole 22 years been like? And how did you get so involved in the church?
When I was at the age of 18, I wasn't being a part of any kind of ministry. It wasn't nothing I was trying to be a part of. It took some life-changing events in my life to finally get to that point that I had to serve for the Lord.
And so, around when did that happen? Like, when did you really just feel like, you know what, it's time for me to really give my life to the Lord and get involved in the church?
I ended up facing a whole lot of obstacles when I was young. I first got out of school, I started doing things that I thought was all right for me to do, and ended up costing me losing a whole lot of chapters out of my life. I ended up getting in a lot of trouble. I flunked out of school my first semester, and after that I ended up getting into more trouble, and it finally took me till I got to almost the age of 20, 25 to finally figure out that I needed to change my life. My mom, she ended up graduating from Drake State Technical College in 2015, and that was one of the things that motivated me to try to get my education as well, because I'm thinking, if my mama can get it, I know I can go to school and do the same thing. So I ended up going to school. I took up industrial electronics at the time. Not a real good reason why I did it. I did it just because at the time that was going to be the most prosperous job for me to invest my career in. And I went on and took that up, and in exactly 2 years, I graduated from Drake State Technical College. But in the process of me graduating, the Lord, He put people in place for me to help me succeed. And one of the teachers there, she always made sure that I got my education every day, and made sure that she wasn't accepting a C out of me. She wanted A's and B's, and that's what I ended up graduating with A's and B's.
So that experience with you kind of turning your life around, getting your education, watching your mom graduate, all of those events in your life, they eventually led you back to the church.
Right, I graduated, and I ended up, as soon as I graduated, I put in an application for a job and didn't really know if I was going to get it. And I ended up meeting the lady at the front door, and I was asking her, I've had a past, and some things that happened to me in my life, and I got my stuff together. And she took that application, and within a couple of days, I got a call back from my first job I got at the school, and it ended up after a couple of years and what I'm doing now, it just makes me it made me realize that all the help that I've been getting has been coming from God. God has been putting me in situations, putting people in my life to help me succeed. And what makes me go back to the church and do things for the churches, because if God had done all this for me, I should be able to serve and try my best to uplift His kingdom.
Right. Did you have any fears coming back into the church? You know, you said you talked about having a past and you were fearful, you know, about applying for the job because of your past. Did you have some of those same fears when it came to coming back to the church?
Yeah, I just had a fear of people not accepting me for who I am. I wasn't a crazy outrageous guy, but it was, I was always afraid of people looking at me the wrong way or thinking that feeling like I didn't belong at the time.
So how did you get over that? Because now, I mean, you're as much a part of this church as anybody, and I mean, you've been invested in this church even longer than I have, and people come, they see, they know. When they think David's Temple, it's hard for them not to think Maurice. I remember we had a convention at the Mission Center one time. You were asking questions about Sunday school. How can we get more, especially young people to Sunday school? And you were very interested in church. So how did you go from, having some fears about coming into church to just being, 100% all in with just serving?
I just realized it wasn't all about me. It was all about really just trying to help others and bring other people to Christ, because that's our main goal in life, is to draw people near to Christ. And I started not worried about what everybody else think and worried about what God thinks.
So tell me how do you look at it now? You've been serving for quite a while, quite a lot of ministries. I mean, is that just a part of how do you make time? Because that's the challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people face a challenge of trying to find time to be more involved, more committed. How do you find time to be as involved as you are?
When it comes to church, you have to figure out what's your priorities, especially in life. Who do you put on top? Do you put God on top? Or you put your job on top, or do you put other people on top? In my case, I put God on top. And when you come to church, you got to figure out what auxiliaries or missions that you want to be involved in. And when you decide what those missions are, you need to put your heart and soul into that. That's what you agreed to do. It's like a job. We don't go to a job and do stuff halfway. We got to do stuff, the best of our abilities, and that's what I've tried to do. It's been some couple missions and auxiliary groups that I just had to sit down because I couldn't put my heart into those ministries like I should. So I had to eventually start just figuring out which ministries I can work with the best way I could.
Right. So what do you enjoy most about serving, being in ministry, but specifically David's Temple? What do you enjoy most about coming to David's Temple and serving?
I just love the people here, man. Everybody's always have a good attitude, have a smile on their face, and just to be able to shake somebody's hand and look them in the eye and tell them that you think about them, and that brings a comfort in my heart. I just love the fellowship here that everybody has with one another, and it's like home to me.
If you had one thing that you could tell, somebody who's lost or somebody who's trying to find Christ, just trying to find their way in life, period. If you had one thing that you could take from your own story that you could tell them to kind of help them, what would that be?
Basically, if it's something that you are interested in doing, go to some peers, go to some older people that's been here, that's been in this world a little while, a little longer than you have, and ask them for guidance. Sometimes we go into things and we don't try to go for people for guidance and stuff, and that's one of the main things. And if you're having problems with understanding things with the Bible and how life works, ask somebody. Come to them. We got a pastor here. Come to our pastor, or come to one of the members. The members will be able to help you. Just don't think you're all alone in this. I've been there. I've been at the point to where I didn't know where to go to, and I finally, once all this stuff happened in my life, I knew it was God. I mean, it was no other person it could be. He put, like I say, he put people in position for me to succeed, and you got to understand it for yourself that God's working for you in your favor. And everything might not happen to you when you want it and when you need it, but just keep trusting in Him and go seek counsel. Sometimes we don't want to ask people for help, and that's one of the biggest things.
Last question. So, you talked about your journey from starting at 18 years old here at Davis Temple. 22 years later, you're here involved in the church. In between, there were some turns, and I think that happens with all of us, a lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially when you join the church at a super young age. Life happens, you experience different things, you learn lessons. But what has helped you the most when it comes to church, like in your faith as an individual? What has helped you grow the most? Like, is there anything that you do on a daily basis? Any piece of wisdom somebody has given you? Is there a ministry at the church that has helped you grow? Like, what do you think has been the most helpful to you growing as a Christian?
I think mostly probably a couple things. One is as you start to realize everything in this world has a purpose. Most of the time, you wake up in the morning, you see the sun come up, and even time it goes down, and even the sun has a purpose. You got to understand that you have a purpose in life as well. And for me, it's what helps me, inspires me the most. As we know here at Davis Temple, we have a lot of older members here that's not here today, and just to see and see them when I was young, and see them work in the church. We have some now, a few deacons here now that are some real good men, and that's somebody to look up to, and that's where I get my inspiration from.